Hello, welcome back to the channel for day 3 of splitting this 40/20. Now, I haven't been able to put a whole day in since the tractor got here. I think I have about 5 to 6 hours into this project, at this point. But today we're going to work on building the stand for this thing. We're going to be splitting this tractor, so we need a stand for the front. For the back, I think we're just going to stack up some wood, hold up the back end of it, but the front needs a stand. And what I've decided to do was utilize these 2 bolt holes. There's these 2 pair of holes on each side. This is where the tractor frame bolts to the engine. And they're held in there with these neat little bolts that have this sort of tapered portion to make sure they all stay in alignment. Those parts stay in alignment. I'm not going to use these. I'm going to use slightly longer standard bolts for my bracket. And here's my plan. I'm sure you can get up close here and see. I hope you can see this. Anyhow, this is the artist's rendition, and this is drawn perfectly to scale, so there should be no questions or problems upon seeing this diagram. So this beam here represents the frame down there, and these 2 bolt holes represent the 2 bolt holes down in the frame. So I'm going to cut a vertical component out of some real thick angle stock that I have, drill holes in them, and bolt them to the frame. And across the bottom, I'm going to install a horizontal component, weld them together. Here's another view of the thing kind of from the front, or rear, I suppose. Here are the bolts. Here's the vertical piece. Here's the horizontal piece. And these are casters. I'm going to put a horizontal component across the bottom and place 3 casters under there. That's my plan. So here's what I'm working with. All right, put you over here so where you can see everything. So these are the casters I'm working with. These things are rated at 1,000 pounds each. So I figure if I put 3 of them in there, that's probably going to be enough. Now, does that engine and the loader and all that stuff, does that weigh more than 3,000 pounds? Quite possibly. I don't know exactly how much it weighs, but I think 3 would suffice. So for the first cut, we are going to put it in the saw, and I already measured it at 3 feet. That's definitely too long, but that's what we're going to start with. By the way, I'm using this saw made by Evolution. Let's get a closer look at that saw for a second. These saws are a little spendy, but if you're doing even light fabrication, man, they're worth it. They cut real well. This blade that I have on here is pretty old. It really should be replaced, but I'm going to show you how well it cuts, even being so old. So I know this one, we're going to cut it at 3 feet. Let me make sure I have enough room to cut this thing at 3 feet. Where's my soapstone? Where is my soapstone? There it is. Let's mark 3 feet on the beam. There's 36 inches. 3 feet. This is for the vertical component. There's going to be 2 of these. Okay. Now I know my sawhorse here is higher than the saw, so this is not going to be a perfect cut. Doesn't have to be a perfect cut. Let me put on my earmuffs because this saw is loud. All right, first cut. Here we go. see how quick that thing cut through? This is 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch steel. Look at how smooth it is. It's even. This is actually a little rougher than it normally is. When that blade is fresh, it doesn't even leave these even the slightest burrs on here. This is after, I don't know how many cuts are on this blade, but that's the kind of cutting you get with this saw. I love this saw. All right, where am I going to put this? Let me put this down over here. And we're going to cut another one at 3 feet, 36 inches. Come on. Doesn't have to be exact. Not even close. So now we got our vertical components. Let's take them back over to the tractor. Wow. Okay. Good Lord. Now we're going to try it this way. See if I can get an angle on it from there. Okay, I see nothing wrong with this. What could possibly go wrong? This is like that, this is going to be like that, put this over here. You've seen that video of the guy on a farm who's trying to get the giant wheel off the tractor and he bounces on it with a big breaker bar. And that big breaker bar, I'm laughing about it already. That big breaker bar gets him right between the legs. Woo, that must have hurt. This isn't going to hurt at all. There it goes. I'm paying attention to any movement here as this bolt comes out. There certainly isn't any that I could see. That's going to be lovely, just like that. Actually, it needs to be up a little bit like that. So let's put a shim under there. So that's the idea. Just like that. Gonna kind of eyeball this thing. So looks like we are about 2 3/4 of an inch. 2 3/4 of an inch. 1.5 inches in from the end is where we want the holes to be. Can I even see that mark? All right. 1.5 inches in from the edge. That's better. Okay, that's 1.5 inches in from the end. And the top hole, it doesn't really matter exactly how high this is going to be. I cut these intentionally too long, so we have a lot to play with. So let's just put the top one right here. It doesn't matter. That's not the important one. The important one is 2 3/4 of an inch down from that. So there's 2. 3/4 of an inch. It's right there. We're going to use this forklift to help support the weight. All right. We'll drill a pilot hole. Clunk. All right, let's see if I can get that other. Forklift does nothing for this one. Man, just barely. What is this? That's a 3/4. That's 6/8. That actually might be better. Give a little wiggle room. I think I'll use that one. Now this drill bit is pretty dull, so this is going to take a little while. All right, here goes. Let's see how we did. Got a lot of metal shrapnel here. Yeah, we had a problem. There has been a mismeasurement. Yeah, I was way off. Way off. What did I say that was? 2 3/4? I forgot the number. What the heck was it? What'd you guys let me do here? Yeah, you know why it's off? Because it's more like 1 3/4, not 2 3/4. So that's definitely 2 3/4. So what we're going to do, we're going to make the bottom one the good one. We're going to put another hole to 1 3/4 up from that one. Okay. Maybe they're not short. Maybe they're just fine. All right, well, that's the idea. That's a vertical component. These bolts are holding it. I even have a little bit of wiggle room to make it straight. All right, well, that's the idea. So we're going to have one vertical component per side, and then we're going to put in the horizontal component. So I'm not going to record making the other one because it's going to look exactly the same. So let's put you on hold for a minute. And just like that, the caster matrix is done. So I put them this way. I put them at an angle. You can see I have one bolt here and one bolt here. They're at angles. And the angle themselves is somewhat arbitrary, but the reason for the angling isn't. The reason is because if I put these straight so that, for instance, this surface was flush with this surface, I could only ever get 2 bolts in no matter what. If I made these surfaces straight, then I can get 2 bolts here or 2 bolts in here, and I think going this way gives it a little bit better support. Okay, so that's why I did this. So I needed to build this part first because I needed to measure the height between the floor and this surface, which I now know is 6 5/8. So why is that important? Because if we go over here and I measure 6 and, let's see, 5/8 is 10/16, 6 and 11/16 up from the floor, put a mark there, take those off, cut them, I can put them back on and weld it, and we can be all set. So we're going to put a mark at 6 and 11/16 up from the floor. Yes, I know there's better ways to do this. 8, 9, 10, 11. I am well aware there's a lot of different ways to do this. This is my way. If you don't like it, don't do it this way. No. All right, let's get a look at things down there. We got our bolts to our cross member, to our little caster, what did I call that? Caster matrix? Ah, good stuff. Well, it's ready for welding. It's 4 o'clock. I'm tired. I want to go home, but I'm going to put a bead on it. Not bad. I've seen worse. Here we go. Get in here and have a look. Huh? What do you think? Yeah, it's not bad. All right. I'm not going to worry. I could put a bead back there. Let's put a bead back there. Now, I didn't cut the, I didn't get the mill scale off of that side, but it's not going to hurt. There go my sticks. Great. Nothing works like dirty sticks. This is going to be dirty. Yeah, dirty. Let's get you in here and have a look. Yeah, pretty porous. Not too bad though. Good enough for what we're doing here. Yeah, I need to lay down another pass on that one. Is it fun listening to me weld? I can't imagine it is. Pretty, this is not. Come on. ugly. Well, that'll get the job done. All right. I think I've had enough for one day. Turn that thing off. That weld was real tricky. I didn't want to make a career out of it, so we just gooped a bunch of crap on there, and it is what it is. Okay, well, that's all we have for today. I think I've put in a good enough day, so we made the bracket. Tomorrow we'll put a bunch of, stack up a bunch of wood under the backside, and tomorrow we'll split it. Couldn't get it done today, ran out of time. All right, thanks for watching.